top, Bichette here. This is his first home run of the season. So this is a 2021 swing, first home run of the year. And if we look at a couple things, when you see him at the very top of his stride, that's a really big leg kick. Like his knee, his left knee is at the top of his right thigh. So if I got into this position, I probably would be in the hospital. Like this is a very athletic move to be able to control that. And I think it's cool because he's like, I'm gonna let it go. Like I don't care. I don't have two strikes, right? And then when he gets to two strikes, I'm gonna bring him down to like his toe touch position right here. He kind of just starts like that. When he has two strikes, he just kind of lifts his heel up. He doesn't stride, and then he just tries to find a barrel. And I think that's pretty cool to be able to do that. It's not very easy, but you can see why he gets so much in it. I mean, this would be like a pitcher. A pitcher's going to get his leg up this much. Okay. But the great part about what he does is a lot of people, when they open their front side, so as he's coming down, watch his front knee and his front foot open. So it's closed, closed, closed. And then right before his foot's, maybe about 4 inches off the ground, he's going to open his foot, which opens his knee, which opens his hip. But as he does that, he's trying to stay as quiet as he can with his hands, so his hands don't come forward, and his chest and upper body, because you can see his chest is still facing back behind his back foot. So, if we get him to his torque position here, his heel plant, and I put some angles on this, his chest is kind of like, if I go perpendicular to his shoulders, his chest is probably there. His hips, perpendicular to his hips. So he's like right at 40 degrees or so. And that's about as high as it gets. 40 degrees is really high. There's guys that are 25 to 28 degrees. And they provide enough power too. But Bichette, you would know better than me. How much does he weigh? He's 190 pounds maybe? I don't, yeah. Like, he's not a massive dude. And so, yeah. So, I mean, he's got to get into it. And this is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most risk, this is a 10. That stride is a 10, but he's done it for so long that he doesn't have a problem controlling it, right? That's really the key with players when they say, should I have a leg kick? I'm like, well, try a leg kick. Like, I don't care if you have a leg kick or not. Like, try it. And if you're terrible at it, we give it 6 months. If you're terrible at it, we scrap it. But at least we can try. It's always easier to go from here, this high leg kick, to a small leg kick than it is to go from a small leg kick to a big one. Like that you can't do. If you're 14 and you're like, I think I'm going to build in a leg kick, it's too late. Okay? Or even 16 or even a pro player trying to do it. It's very, very difficult to learn how to do that. But if you start doing it when you're, or at least tinkering with it when you're 10, 11, 12, it's possible. So, okay, getting him back to launch position. Now from here, you can see he really stays back. So this camera angle is a little bit forward, okay? So we're not directly 90 degrees from home plate. But if I draw a vertical line from the middle of his head, it's pretty much over his back hip, okay? And I think if we were directly 90 degrees, it would probably be over his hip flexor. That's where most good hitters are, okay? If you're directly 90 degrees to their open side, the middle of their head is going to be over their right hip flexor. Now, when he goes to rotate, let's go here. I'm going to draw a line right through his head, the middle of his head. Look how he keeps his head back. I mean, that's as good as it gets. His eyes are still, his head is still. He's able to rotate around. We talk about rotating around the axis. Well, the axis is the head. Like if your head is sliding forward or backwards, then it makes it hard to rotate around it, okay? So if you can keep your head in the top of your spine still, then you can rotate around it. You can see he releases his backside, his back foot comes forward. Oh, I don't know, maybe 2 inches or so. Look at his knee action and thigh action. It's almost like two thighs become one by the time he hits. You don't even see his left thigh. He's rotated so much. Backstory on this pitch, it's middle in, okay? So this pitch was probably ball one, like, the first channel over home plate. This pitch was middle in, so he really had to turn on it, okay? And you can see he launched this, this ball off the bat trajectory is, somewhere in the low 30s or so, 33 degrees. And his bat, was probably moving, 10 there, and then it starts moving up a little bit, so he probably hits it somewhere between 10 and 19. So we'll say 15. He's swinging up at 15. He hits it at 33. That's pretty good. That ball's going to go a long way. You can see his front foot release. See how he's pushing up through his heel after contact? Okay. So if you ever see, this is actually big for parents and kids and coaches out there. If you ever see, this is like certification material right here you're getting. If you ever, yeah, see the toes lift right there? That means he's pushing through his heel and his hamstrings and his glutes. Okay. And you'll see this a lot with players, if you see the heel lift, a lot of times you see the heel lift, that means the weight's pushing in the toes. So you'll see the toes are in the ground, but the heel's up. That means the weight's in the front of the knee and the quad, and they're either too narrow or they're coming forward too much. They're rotating forward and maybe they're pushing back here too much, or like I said, they're just too narrow. So that front foot tells a pretty good story. But if we watch his back hip, this is kind of fun. This is so awesome. Watch his back knee pull his back foot up. Okay, see the knee right there, boom. As the knee comes in, the heel comes up. Then as the knee keeps going, it pulls the heel up more, boom, boom, boom. It's all about the knee. And I don't know if I'm one of the only few guys that talk about it, but I'm a knee guy. When the knees work well, when this knee pulls back and this knee pulls forward, I don't even care about your feet and I don't care about your hips because I know they'll be good. So I saw a Coach Schneider at 8am softball, right? We talked about Coach Snyder before, awesome dude. Somebody posted something. I don't know if it was even a baseball coach. It may have been like a basketball coach or something. And it said, being able to relate to your players or being able to communicate to your players in different ways is what makes a good coach. And I would put a footnote on there, or a good teacher, right? Because you can tell Bo, I want your knees to come together. And Bo's like, okay, like this? Sweet, your hip speed just went through the roof. Maybe you say that to the next player and they look at you like, okay, and then they do something weird here. And a good coach is like, okay, I'm never going to say that to this player again. Let's think about getting your back heel high. And then maybe all of a sudden they think about their heel and then their knee actually comes in. So we're getting to the same result, but we're using different terms to get there because everybody is different. Everybody has a different brain. Everybody has a different feel. Some people are Vanderbilt grads and some people are LaSalle grads. Like we can't keep... No, but and some people aren't grads at all, right? Some people, I played with a dude in short season. Oh, I can see him, but I can't remember his name. I sat with him on my first bus trip. Oh, and it was funny because I was trying to learn Spanish better, and so I would always talk to the Latin guys. How I say this, and we say that, right? And so I picked this guy, and the Latin guys are like, we don't even know what he's saying. Like, we can't even understand. But anyway, they drafted him. He was throwing like rocks at grapefruits, trying to knock them down. And somebody gave him a contract. So you have people like that you have to teach. And then you have, like I said, people from Vanderbilt, or really big brain kind of guys. So anyway, that's what makes a good coach. So if we look at this swing, if we break down a little more, you can see how tight his arms are at contact, right? His right elbow is really tight. We talked about this with different players, how this isn't good unless it's an inside pitch. So as he comes through here, even though that arm is tight, he still gets to extension, right? He still gets to an awesome power V. It's just later. It's in foul territory. And we talk about a lot about this at certification. Where is your power V position, right? Like, where is it in fair territory? Is it in foul territory? Is it in right field? Is it in left field? It's dependent on the pitch. If the pitch is inside, I don't want you to alligator arm this around because it'll create bad habits. But if you do it to get to the ball and then you still stay through it with his arms, now all of a sudden on an outside pitch, you'll be able to get to it. So Okay, so this is a pitch he's totally fooled on. The pitch is down and away. It's a slider that he's going to hit. You don't have access to this clip, Jim, so sorry. But look at his right arm. Just nod like you know what's going on. You'll see his right arm isn't close to his ribs. It's not close to being bent. And then watch him extend through. So look at where this was a home run too. Look at where his power V is on this one. His power V is pointing to the right of the pitcher, where on the one before, his power V was in foul territory. So that's what makes a good hitter, a guy that can keep his arms tight when he has to. But if he would have kept his arms tight on this pitch, he would have missed it by probably 10 or 12 inches. Instead, even though he was fooled a little bit, he still got barrel, he still hit a home run, and maybe he wins a batting title because of that one swing. And now back to you, Jim.